Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs warns House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's support in the GOP is weakening. One America's John Hines has more from Capitol Hill.
We're here with Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona. Sir, it's been a very busy weekend, a lot of news in the House of Representatives. Apparently, the Speaker was able to pass a continuing resolution with Democratic votes. Tell us how rare that is when a Republican Speaker is able to pass legislation with Democratic votes in such a critical period.
Well, in my experience, the continuing resolutions and the spending bills, it's not unusual to be able to put together a coalition with Republicans and Democrats. And that's part of what I call the uniparty, because they come together and like this one here, it continues spending at the levels of the Biden, Pelosi, Schumer levels of last year, keeps those policies in place. And it was done at the last minute to cram it down people's throats.
What was the number in the vote in terms of Democrats voting versus Republicans?
Let's see, you had, boy, I don't know, John, there's a big number. They had, I think, 209 Democrats. I think every Democrat that was on the floor voted for it.
So there was about 90 or so Republicans, I guess, who didn't. So what does that mean in terms of the Speaker's support within the Republican conference, sir?
Well, I mean, it's weak. I mean, it was demonstrable with, let's say, an amendment that I ran last week to remove certain Ukrainian funding from the actual bill, the actual appropriations bill, where we had the majority of the conference voted to remove that funding, and a minority of the conference voted to keep the funding in. So right now, I guess we're not sure what it says about the Speaker's support, but there's a lot of people that are kind of upset for one reason or another with each other, with the Speaker, etc.
Your colleague Matt Gaetz has said that he will introduce a resolution later this week sometime to presumably vacate the chair. Is there any prediction you'd offer whether or not Speaker McCarthy remains Speaker for, say, the next couple weeks?
I think that the Speaker will survive the challenge to his speakership.
Do you anticipate Mr. Gaetz to go ahead and offer his resolution?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. He has said it repeatedly, so I would imagine.
Is this a delicate time for the Republican conference, and what does this say about the leadership of the Republicans in the House, sir?
I do think this is kind of a delicate time, but anytime you have a small majority and you have promises that were made that were not kept, and a very wide spectrum of political ideas in the Republican conference, it's going to be delicate. But I mean, the distinction is you could look back and see what was Nancy Pelosi able to do with a similar small majority. And I'll be the first to say that part of our problem is that Republicans are very independent, and we're not lockstep, we're not hierarchical like the Democrats are. But I think we could have resolved a lot of these problems if the appropriations bills would have been done timely, as required by the Budget Control and Impoundment Act of 1974, which requires those bills to leave the House by the middle of June, get over to the Senate. I think we could have probably avoided all of this horrific mess that happens, and I lay that squarely at the feet of our leader.
Do you have a sense of how you might vote on that?
I would vote no on a motion to table. In other words, I would vote, I think Mr. Gates' motion should be allowed to come to the floor.
You would vote to support a motion to vacate the chair?
Yes, I believe I would.
Very good. Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona, sir, it's a pleasure to catch up with you.
Thanks, John. Good to see you.
We'd like to welcome you to our new home for uncensored news and hard-hitting talk shows. If you're tired of cable companies and social media giants chipping away at your most basic and important right, freedom of speech, by shadow banning, demonetizing, censoring, and policing every single one of your posts, then One America News on Locals is just what you've been looking for. Finally, you'll have the freedom to express your point of view and stay connected with like-minded fellow patriots. And the best part is, OAN on Locals is only $5 a month. All of our credible, honest, unbiased reporting ad-free talk shows, and exclusive content, all at the fraction of the cost of cable. So to watch, just click the join button to get the news you can't get anywhere else.